I am in Hamilton City Hall and about to do a rally here. They're just setting up and everything now, and I just screwed up and put the wrong adapter on my tripod. So just hang with me here, folks. Sorry, folks. It's getting pretty windy here. All right, folks. See if I can do this without shutting me off. Don't mind the music in the background. There's nothing I can do about it. Sorry, YouTube, but everybody is like over there getting ready. I'm not sure exactly where they're setting up. So this is a homeless rally in downtown Hamilton, folks. Sorry if there's a bit of wind noise. It is kind of breezy here today. We do have mainstream media right there, CHCH TV, but we should be getting going any time. It's supposed to start at 3, but they had a problem getting their equipment here, so just waiting on them. And they'll do this whole, I won't try not to say a word during the speech. There's quite a few people that actually sleep in this park. Every night. Most of the tents are down, so a little bit of a giving away food and stuff like that over there, keep people hydrated. So let's just see. Welcome to all the new people that I'd talked to today. Thank you for subscribing and checking this out. Again, I'm just waiting for these guys to get started here, and then we'll get right into it. But I have noticed since I've been here that the discrimination that I find in this city when it comes to housing is just unreal. Like, it's actually illegal, but they're doing it. It's really, really hard to get anything in this city. It doesn't matter if you got money or not. Like, if you're disabled or something, they think you're junkie and they won't rent to you, nothing. So, and if any, I'll try my best to answer the chat, but it's hard to see over here, so. And of course we got some copyright music here, but there's nothing I can do about it. We're in a public place and it's being played in public, so there's not much I can do about it. I can try and talk over it the best I can, but I know that we'll get a copyright claim on this just because of this song and whatever else is played, so. Quite busy over there, actually. This is just people coming through with their Bluetooth speakers and that, and just blasting music. So, and I don't understand why YouTube keeps doing it, but Me Master said hi. Hi, Me Master. Good to see you. Well, sorry, folks. Actually, so this is the people that are here. There was an encampment on the Bruce Trail, and they closed it down. And you know, it says different things here about what they want and that, and then there's a list of all the council members here too. If anybody wants any of their names or numbers, just send me an email at mickeyallen3@gmail.com, and I'll send you all of it if you want it. Jax, good to see you. So, this should have been started already, folks. I'm sorry. I'm 10 minutes into this and I don't even know where they're setting up yet. Even mainstream media is here and they don't know where they're setting up yet, so but I figured I'd get it started here and let some people come in. And yeah, and please, if you can, hit that like button for me. Just help me get this video out more and show awareness. And it helps fight climate change. Now I'll get a strike for that now. Misleading information. I just, you know what, I haven't been in this city since, I think, the late 80s or something. Almost 40 years I've been away from this city. I grew up here from 12 till 19. And this whole city has changed so much. That hotel used to be a car dealership. That there's part of McMaster University. That tall building right there, that's part of McMaster University. And then you look down, you got the Sheridan. That's in Jackson Square. And that big brown building there is the convention center. And then you got First Ontario Concert Hall right there. Come around, and this is City Hall where we're at. Big Hamilton sign. The CFL Hall of Fame used to be right over there. Now it's part of McMaster University. They moved the CFL Hall of Fame to Tim Hortons. Few people here, but just wondering when they're going to get this thing started. The drug use in this city is just unbelievable. Everywhere you go, they just right on King Street, right on Main Street. Nothing, like, there's more ODs in this city every day than I can count. Like, it's just wild. Oh. Yeah. Looks like they're setting up over here, so I'm gonna go over here.
Okay.
All right.
Can folks hear me? All right. We're gonna get things started.
If you want, yeah.
Just bring it up a bit.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming out today to support. It's really lovely and really powerful to see so many folks out here in solidarity, in support, in love, in grief, in rage. For those who don't know, we have now been here. This is day 14 of the People's Encampment protest here at City Hall. And we are very proud to have been able to maintain what we have for thus far. And it wouldn't have been possible without all of your support. Woo! Yeah, please give me some cheers. It has been a very profound experience for all of us, both house and unhoused, who've been out here day in and day out. There's been learning that's been gone in all directions that we'll all carry with us. There's been connections made in ways that haven't been before that I'm deeply grateful for. And the community that we've been able to build while protesting serves to remind me and others of what we're out here fighting for. We're fighting for housing for all. Yeah! Housing for all. Housing is a human right. Basic dignity, self-determination, and autonomy. From Turtle Island to Palestine, this is what all humans deserve. This is the bare minimum that the city of Hamilton, that the province of Ontario, and the country of Canada can provide for its people. We've been out here in tents, knowing that around the world there are others out in tents facing much worse. We are grounded in humility and in love and in grief. And in order to grieve, the call to grief is the call to liberation, because in order to grieve, we must be free. And that is what we are fighting for. We're fighting to be free, fighting to live in dignity, which is what everyone deserves. I don't want to take up too much more time. I'll be speaking, I'll be emceeing through now and then, but I want to start with our first speaker, Ward 2 Councillor Cameron Critch.
Thanks for the introduction, and thanks to all of you for being here. I think this is an amazing testament to what I hope our growing movement for ensuring that everybody has housing, everybody is seen, everyone is recognized, and that frankly, we can do the basics as a city council. For those of you who don't know, I'm Ward 2 City Councillor Cameron Critch. I represent the downtown core. I also helped, it feels like a while ago now, but helped to start the Hamilton Encampment Support Network. I want to thank everyone from the Hamilton Encampment Support Network who's out here supporting people, staying here, making sure people are safe. That's what the work of the support network is over for, is to try to help people meet them where they're at and offer those supports when they ask for them. Sadly, this isn't the first time and not going to be the last time we're standing out here. And the call is really kind of a simple call. There's a sign up that says right here, City Council, meet with us. And you couldn't have made it more accessible than showing up on the front lawn of City Hall to ask people to walk outside about 50 feet to say hello. And unfortunately, I'm not sure many have made it out so far, which is pretty disappointing. I think it's important for politicians when they make decisions sitting around a horseshoe in there in this abstract, rather colonial, bureaucratic space that have an direct impact on people's housing, people's ability to move freely around the city, to come outside, have a conversation, shake people's hands, listen to them, and hear what their experiences are. And so I'm hopeful that my colleagues will show up in the next little while, will come down here, we'll have a conversation with you, and we'll listen to the things that you want. No, cities can't solve the problem. I've been famously said that for a long time now, so we can't do all the work. But one thing I've learned from talking to folks who are forced to live outside is that if we can't solve the problem immediately, if we don't have a solution in the moment, the least we can do is leave people alone, let them determine what they're going to be able to do, and not chase them from park to park to park, with nowhere for them to go. All it does is create harm, and we know because it's not just me saying this, it's not just the HESN saying this, it's not folks who are living out here saying it, it's United Nations who's saying this, right? It's organizations from around the world who are saying, when we force people to move, when we have no plan, when we can't tell folks where they can be predictably, it causes harm, up to and including death, and we know especially when it's cold outside, that increases, right? So right now it's kind of easy to have this conversation, we're out here in some warm weather, but not 6, 8, 10 months from now, it's not going to be, and the conditions aren't going to change. So I appreciate all the work everyone's doing here. If there's someone wearing a shirt here, I want to end on saying this. I think it's a great hoodie. It says, "This is not a drill." I want everyone to remember that. We're living in times where people's precarity is real, where people are at risk of harm, of death, people are at risk of continuing to live in situations where they're not supported at all. We can do better, we should do better. Thank you to everyone here who's continuing to show up and support people. Thank you.
What are you going to do about the shelters? What are you going to do about the shelters? They're killing people too.
Absolutely.
If you're on city council, you need to not be walking away right now. I've been filing reports for 6 fucking months on the shelters in this city. We've almost killed the twice. I can't even get a meeting with the director. Are you willing to talk?
We hear you. I'm not sure if everyone heard, but there was just a call out about the horrible conditions in shelters, and we've been hearing from folks about shelters, so I'll speak on that now. Over there, around the corner by the YW, Carol Ann's place, they told me it closes every day from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. So folks are forced every single day to pack up their belongings and bring them out into the street and wait. Wait and wait and wait for hours. Check-in is at 2:30, which is slightly better than checking in at 10 p.m. And if you're not there, your spot is gone. That's why many shelters say, call back at 10 p.m. and we'll tell you if there's a spot, because that's when you have to check in by.
That's not why it's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock because they wait till they do bed check. And then they're
Bed
double
check.
dipping on the bed.
Absolutely. Shelters are not housing. Shelters are not housing. Every time we bring up the issue of folks being unhoused in this city and beyond, they say this is the number of shelters beds we have. Shelters are not housing. Shelters are an overnight place to lay your head, get a shower, do laundry, maybe at best.
They can be more.
They can be more. Sometimes shelters are long-term, but eventually you get kicked out, and not everyone makes it to housing. There are folks who have lived in shelters for however long they're allowed to stay, up to a year, and then they're back out on the streets, starting all over again. Shelters are not housing. The solutions are known. The research is out there. Housing people is the most effective and affordable way to address the housing crisis. And yet, yes! The reason is out there, the answers are known. We are not reinventing any kind of wheel here. We're not asking for something that's unprecedented, it's deeply precedented. It is a choice. It is a policy decision to let people die on the streets. Shame! 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 How can we think of ourselves as a progressive nation, as a developed nation, whatever you want to call us, when we let people die on the streets, knowing the solutions are there, knowing we're funneling our money into the prison system, into enforcement, instead of into care and housing and wraparound services for people who are struggling. Shame! Shame! I'm going to invite up our next speaker. Can we please have Venus from Roots to Justice, another grassroots organization.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to read, if that's okay. My name is Venus. I'm one of the garden and programming coordinators at Roots to Justice. For those who don't know, we run a community garden at J.C. Beamer Park, where we work to provide people living in the area with free produce, and we also run a youth mentorship program and teach teens how to garden. Our location was not chosen at random. J.C. Beamer Park was chosen because there used to be an encampment there. The founding members of Roots felt that it was important to prioritize folks who are most neglected by the system, which is why it feels eerie to now work in a park 3 years later that has been made encampment free. When there were long-term residents living in the park, we could build relationships with them. We could let them know what to eat and when, and they would help us pick up trash. They would even protect the garden by encouraging visitors to respect the space because it was their garden as much as it was ours. Since the bylaw banned encampments in the park, it's become increasingly difficult to establish community with houseless folks because they aren't able to stay in one place or their shelter will be dismantled and thrown in the trash. I don't know about the rest of you, but that's not how I was taught to treat my neighbors. City Council and provincial legislators paints this as a complicated issue for which there is no easy solution, but I don't think that's true. Last summer, when there were some sweeps at the park, one of the kids asked me very earnestly, why? Why are people so upset by people living in the park? Wouldn't they want these people to be closer to resources like our garden where we can provide them with free food? Well, I can tell you based off repeated conversations I've had with NIMBYs over the past 3 years of working at that park, that the people calling bylaw repeatedly and pressuring the city to remove more people from their vicinity are doing so to keep their property values, are doing so with their property values in mind. It is difficult to keep the rental rates up when the neighborhood is surrounded by the people who have been displaced by the cost of living there.
Shame! Shame!
I think that most of us here are feeling the pressure as more and more developers descend on Hamilton, capitalizing off of the industrial aesthetics while ignoring the workers who keep the city running and built it. They're tearing down our grungy landmarks for sleek new restaurants that only suits can afford, and they're pushing evictions so rentals can sit empty until someone of a higher class can fill them. We cannot afford to keep ignoring the housing crisis. I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't make enough to feel comfy. I'm on welfare, and if I did not have roommates, I would not, and if I didn't have community to cover for me by taking responsibility for my portion of the rent through subletting, I would not be here today. Or at least I would be here, but I would not be housed. The maximum for a single person on social assistance is $733, which is barely enough to afford a room these days. And the second you tell a landlord or a rental agency that someone is looking to rent on social assistance, even if you have 3 to 4 other roommates who have jobs, you will be ghosted, or you will be told that that rental has been filled. I know that there are people who work 3+ jobs to afford rent. How long is this sustainable? We need to do better as a community, as more and more people slip through the cracks with no safety net to catch them. As an individual, that may seem like an impossible task, but look around, there are a lot of us here. You don't have to be good at everything to show up, but if we want the cost of living to go down, we have to start showing up for houseless folks now. That looks like calling our counselors to stop encampments evictions and pushing for long-term housing for all. That also looks like fundraising for supplies and food to fill the gap in between now and when change is made on an institutional level. It looks like painting banners, making art about it, and talking about the evictions that are happening, making them harder to ignore for folks with more privilege. It should make people uncomfortable to hear about how folks are being violently displaced. That is your conscience speaking. Don't ignore it. Thank you.
Thank you, Venus. So we're here at Hamilton City Hall, at the seat of our municipal government. But this is an issue that all levels of government are complicit in. All levels of government are contributing to issues. Hamilton is responsible for much of the enforcement, but there's a larger context in Ontario that our next speaker is going to speak about. So I'd love to invite Brad from DJNO, the Disability Justice Network of Ontario.
Thank you so much, and thank you folks for having me here. I'm honored to be here with all of you today. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen an ocean of legislation from the provincial government that is only going to make the things that we're talking about here today even worse and even harder for folks in this community. The reality is what's happening here in Hamilton is a picture and a vision for what's going to be happening and has been happening in little ways all across the province. In the last 2 weeks, the Ford government has put forward a whole series of bills. Bill 5, Bill 6, Bill 17, Bill 25, and Bill 10, that in each of those bills is an impact on unhoused communities and on all of us here in Hamilton and beyond. With Bill 6, we're talking about further powers to police to criminalize and bring violence on unhoused communities and on those suspected of using drugs. And I say suspected because, again, this province does everything it can to make vague legislation and to give police even more power to bring even more violence across our communities. Exactly, friends. With Bill 5, we have special economic zones that can be declared for whole new developments where existing acts and laws will not apply at the whim and basis of the minister of whichever act applies. Ultimately, this could mean attacks further on folks who are unhoused, but again, looking towards things like the AODA, with workplace legislation, all things like that, everyone in this province needs to pay attention to what's happening here. The level of enforcement and violence might seem to some folks as being on the margins, as something we can ignore, but frankly, it is not. If we look to Bill 10, Bill 10 directly attacks so-called supportive housing and turns your landlord, if you are housed, into a drug cop. They are going to be threatened by the province with the idea that they are engaging in drug trafficking for housing drug users and not doing something about it. Ultimately, that puts so-called supportive housing, social housing, and other spaces at risk. When we look towards Bill 17, we see the ability of this province to undermine accessibility in spaces, including in shelters and in actual housing, that doesn't go beyond the building code and prevents actually accessible housing from being built, while giving even more money to for-profit developers and to folks who want to engage in institutionalization. Thank you, Fred. It's shame, exactly. And when we look at Bill 25, which hasn't passed yet, but is going to when they come back in October, because they have the numbers and they have the will, Bill 25 imposes ideological mandates on all organizations that are funded by the Ministry of Children, Community, and Social Services, meaning that agencies that serve unhoused populations, that serve this community, can be told by the government, no, you cannot work with encampments. Actually, you need to work to dismantle them or you're going to lose your funding. They are turning with these bills every part of our civil society, every part of our social safety net, every part of Ontario society and government against unhoused people, against drug users, against disabled people, and trying to weaponize every part of this government, every bill that they can, to intensify and bring further violence. That is the mission of this government. Every bill they've passed into law so far has done this. Every single one. And they aren't stopping, friends. There are plans in some of their existing legislation to arm special constables and to make just every aspect of our lives a little more securitized and a little more violent. And so I'm here mainly to tell you about these bills, but also to say that there are folks across the province who are going to try to resist this. There are folks like yourselves here in Hamilton. There's folks in Queen's Park in a similar protest encampment out on the lawn at Queen's Park. There are folks engaging in legal strategies and other kinds of work to try to undermine this legislation. But what we've been telling people all across the province is to look at what's happening here and what's happening to you. People across this province need to understand what the kinds of violence that Bill 6 can bring across the province looks like. And what's happening here in Hamilton is a vision exactly of that. People need to understand genuinely that this province is aiming to make every city, every single city like Hamilton, and to engage in violence and the kinds of enforcement that they are here literally everywhere. We need, as people across this province, and people here in this city, to take as much heart as we can, to build up our networks of mutual aid, which we already are doing here in this city right now by being here. And we need to take as much as we can together and build community together to resist these pieces of legislation. We are lucky right now that the Ford government isn't coming back a little bit later until October. I rarely say I don't want the government to be sitting, to be passing laws, but let me tell you, it's been a pretty rough 2 weeks to see what they've put through and what kind of power they're giving to police, to municipal governments, and to other places and spaces. But we've got a little bit of time, a couple of months, to continue to organize, to build together, my friends, and to resist what we can. But ultimately, and I know folks have already made this clear, and have made this clear in this encampment and every action that ATSN and folks here in this community have already done, which is that we need housing now. We need affordable, accessible, real, lasting housing now. There's nothing else that's acceptable. Nothing less. Nothing else is enough. Doug Ford and folks here at the City Council and at city councils across the province might believe that they can make for-profit endeavors for the rich, that they can give more money to the ruling class, that they can make more spaces to institutionalize us or push us towards medical assistance in dying, because that is what this is. We know what we need, and we can make it happen, friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brad. As Brad mentioned, where there is injustice, where there is oppression, there will always be resistance. And that is what we are all doing here. We resist. We remember our power when we come together. It's one of the common sort of chants at protests that I truly love, is that the people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. One more time. The people united will never be defeated. I think sometimes when we look at the violence and the chaos of the world around us, Doug Ford pushing forward a bunch of horrific bills at once, everything that's happening in the US, I don't know if you've heard of what's happening at LA, but the National Guard has been deployed. It is a war zone over there right now with ICE. Everything in Gaza, everything around the world. It's easy to lose hope and faith. And coming together as we are in this exact moment, as we have been at the People's Encampment protests, coming together, it was what keeps us going. People will often ask me, you know, what's the end goal of this encampment protest? What's the win? What's the strategy? What's this? What's that? What's the end? What's the end? And it's not about the end. It's about the process. It's about the ongoing. It's about the right now. And what we have been able to do here, the connections we've built, the love we have surrounded ourselves around, the safety, brief though it is, incomplete and imperfect though it is, the safety we've been able to provide people is the win. Every moment we are here is the win. Every single second, every single day, every single night when we pitch our tents, every single moment is the win. So don't look to just the end goal. Don't look for a policy change. Those things are important, but every moment we are here is just as important. Every second is just as important. One of the things that moves me the most is the first couple of nights when you would just see people sleep, pass out on a lawn chair, or if there wasn't a tent, lying on the ground. In order to sleep and rest, you have to feel some degree of safety. Our bodies do not rest, at least not easily, when we do not feel safe. And I've been moved to tears just by seeing that we have created a space in this protest where people can briefly rest. It is not safe on the streets, especially for women, especially for trans women. Through the night, they will come, they will share the violence and the abuse that they've experienced out there when there's nowhere to go, when they are pushed from one spot to another, when they are staying in unsafe situations because it's slightly safer than being alone. It is, I cannot overstate how heartbreaking and deeply angering it is. And we should all be heartbroken and angry. And with that, we remember that those things come from a place of love, the deep love for community that we all share. If you are here now, I love you. And I hope you love each other too. I'm now going to invite my dear friend. He's been nervous, but he has a lot of great things to say. Izzy, come on up. Give it up to Izzy.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Welcome to a rally, a protest for change and fairness. My name is Izzy. I'm one of the many homeless who are struggling to even keep a job right now. I am engaged to a beautiful woman. We've been together for 11 years, engaged for 6. So, yeah. I never thought we'd be living on the streets. We used to own a studio apartment. I used to be a dream compared to the harsh reality that we're living in now. The one thing, one missed payment can put us a few months back, and we couldn't catch up to the rise in rent, which I think everybody can understand that. We've been couch surfing since the start of COVID, and eventually our resources just dried up. We spent time away from each other with no communication, staying in different shelters, maybe for a day or two. You want to hold for me? Perfect. I can read at home. There we go. Our relationship was on the edge of collapsing, like many old buildings that Hamilton has vacated right now. Very sad. With shelters constantly full, we couldn't stay, like I said, a day or two. There was always a lineup for beds and ongoing problems within the shelters. Oh, big shame. And now we're here, protesting for a better way. Not a tyrant's plan to destroy low-income lives and throw away homeless people like they throw away their paperwork. Each morning, our brothers and sisters wake up to a false dawn. Endless struggle against the limitation the city has proposed. There's over 1,600 homeless people fighting for their life right now in Hamilton. And that number is always rising. Yet Hamilton only has 930 available beds to combat the huge crisis that we're in. Every 10 days, we lose a brother or sister who is sheltered and unsheltered. This tragic number is rising due to soaring rent, limited shelters, and poor planning from the city of Hamilton. There's empty apartments, churches, and available land that can be used to help us gain our feet again. But the city of Hamilton, our mayors, our councilors, seem to hear nothing but the sound of money filling their pockets. Dear old mayor and councilors, your clueless spending of $7.9 million on the teeny shelters have not solved anything. It could be used to build X amount of housing for the homeless and the low income and the people who are sheltered. I ask you this, how much does it cost to run it each month? What is the outcome for those waiting in the teeny shelters or those who remain unsheltered? $1.1 million spent on fixing the city hall, which could be used to build a rehab facility that Hamilton doesn't have. They don't care about housing people in shelters or those living on the streets or even in the wooded areas. They see us, the homeless, as a problem that cannot be solved, even though the provincial and the federal government gives them millions of dollars each year for this very cause. We're here demanding better better housing support, where we be properly housed and not just shoved into temporary shelter, only to be abandoned. The city often paints us as drug users who don't want to get help. And I'm sorry, that's a lie. It is a disgusting cover-up. Hold up, I lost my foot. Oh yeah, got it. It's a lie. That's a lie. Designed to cover up their responsibility to support those struggling with addiction. And I have to be clear. I will be clear. Substance abuse is a coping mechanism and not a personal fault. When you're homeless, even the most basic sense of security is breached. There's no doors to lock. There's no safe bed to sleep in. What job can you get when the employers have no sympathy for somebody with the skills, but has no address? How can anybody be normal in this broken, judgmental society we live in? That's what's often called abnormal. It's simply a human response to inhuman conditions. Nights are long, brutal, terrifying, draining mind and body. Days offer no safety and certainly no rest. We're simply asking for housing, a rental cap, fair wages so we can thrive and not die on the streets. This generation, I can hold it up. This generation who's turned 30 already seeing the deep flaws in the system. The newer generation already talking about its failures. I'm truly worried about the next generation. Those still in middle school or just born in this year will grow up in a system that is failing, which they will face worse conditions than what we are facing. It's only a matter of time until that bill is due or that credit card is maxed out and you have no way to pay it back. I want to pay it back. You can become homeless. A place that is a death trap. I want to thank every single person who has come out here to support us this afternoon. This is a chance for voices that have been silent for years to finally be heard. This is a protest for a new, helping, and supportive city. So let's make that change, Hamiltonians. So please, email your council, email our mayor, and demand for proper housing support, not handouts that's not going to solve anything. And before I end my speech, I personally want to say this protest will face many, many challenges. And the pushback from the city is going to be harder each time. For they don't want to hear the pleading voices who are screaming to be helped, to be heard, and for once, to be human again. Not abandoned like the hundreds of buildings that are standing right now. Not starving due to the rent being too high, and not crying due to a missed payment. I want to give a big thank you to the supporters who came by to chat, the supporters who donated, and those who supported in any way they can. I want to thank you guys. We appreciate it. Every homeless person, we deeply do. And please do not forget about that. We finally have hope again. Just a bit of comfort that we're all missing and desperately trying to have. All kinds of protests will never truly end. Let our voice finally be heard. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Izzy. Sorry. This is someone who's been coming by for support. You'd like to say a couple of words?
Just so you know, my name is David. I've been out here almost every night supporting and coming out to see the people out here. So I'm on my scooter. I come out every night to say hi to them and every day.
David has been a consistent supporter. Before we wrap up, I do want to share that if you would like to be more involved, if you'd like to be more present, there is a clipboard over there. Venus has got it, where you can sign up. There's many different ways to be helpful, financial donations, supplies donations, but we need people who are willing to spend some time here. Build community, connect with folks, housed and unhoused alike, who are out here. I've met folks from all walks of life who I never would have come across, and who now every day I get to give a hug and a fist bump of solidarity, and we're going through something, we can share that. And I would love to invite more people in to experience the beauty of that, because this nightmare capitalist world that we live in is deeply isolating. If you have a house, if you have a job that provides you a certain level of stability, it's so precious and so important to hold on to that, that we don't always have time for community. We don't always have time for the things that make life deeply beautiful and worth living. And so I invite you all to come out here. You can sign up on the sheet. You can DM us on Instagram. It'll probably be me responding to that. Connect. It is always a beautiful thing, and there's a lot to be learned. Izzy stepped up to speak today. He was nervous, but he wouldn't have been able to do that without the support of the people who've been here every day, hanging out. He's one of my friends now, and then we're, people often think that we're staff. I wish, that we're volunteers, that, it's just almost like a job. You're just here, you do a shift, but it's so much more than that. We're not here to serve necessarily. We're not here to help. We're not just here to do for others. It's also for us. It's for shared, community. I just keep saying the word community, but that's what it's all about. Housing for all isn't just for the unhoused. When we have affordable housing for all, rent prices come down, housing prices come down. It benefits all of the community, and it is the unhoused folks fighting for all of us. Folks out here are fighting for all of us, for a better Hamilton, a better Ontario, a better world. But we owe them everything, and I hope we can all hold that humility in our hearts as we recognize the people who have been discarded by society, who have the most risk to face in being here. They're the ones who are here. This protest began because some folks being evicted at the rail trail had nowhere to go. Where do they want us to go? Where do they want us to go? That's what I would hear all the time. I have nowhere to go. And they said, screw it, we'll go to City Hall. And that's why we're here. And we didn't know how long this would go. We didn't know that we'd make it to day 14, but here we are, stronger than ever, united. And we will keep going as long as we can, as long as it takes, if possible. I now want to open up the mic. If there are any other folks who are unhoused, who've been out here, who would like to share anything that's on their mind, any of their experiences, please feel free to step up. Izzy, you want to come back?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Christopher Skinner. I'm the founder of Grandfathers for Hamilton. I'm from here, but my uncle was, I grew up well. I've been in the shelter system. We're building a class action suit against the missions particularly. They're the worst shelters. They've killed a couple people this year. I've buried 3 friends, and I've seen numerous friends put out middle of the night, drunk on their asses, unable to care for themselves. These young kids here that I know are doing good work. They started, one of their organizers came over to my group. We met. I said I would come by and show my support. But I'm looking for grandfathers. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair with no arms or legs. You can make phone calls. You can think. You can advise. You can hear. Eventually, we get enough of us, we could become a political lobby, at which place we let other people take over. This city works for you. These people work for you. They're not listening. They're not listening in the shelters. They're not listening on the streets. I heard some things said about the cops here today I don't agree with. Most of the police officers I work with that overdoses and passed out kids and heart attacks around the Sally Ann, around Philpott, are very kind and giving people. They got a shitty job, they don't get paid enough, and they're restricted. They're not out trying to harm anybody, but they got jobs to do. I'm not an addict, I've never been an addict, I don't know that struggle. But I live with it. And I don't like smoking fentanyl near me, I don't like crack smoking near me. But a lot of these people that are stuck out here are only having problems with their addictions because they can't get away from it. So if any of y'all got a backyard you want to put a tent up in and take a grandfather home or a veteran, we have people on the street, unfortunately, weeding out the worst. People that are not on drugs, that will be stable, have jobs, have nowhere to live. And they would perform perfectly fine in somebody's backyard by themselves. 1, 2 people, tops. I'm sure most of you live in apartments and that's not a possibility. But there are plenty of places for all these people to sleep. City Hall, you're wasting your time, in my opinion. Keep at it. I don't want to discourage or stop anybody. Do what God puts in your heart. But there's solutions right now, and they don't need City Hall, and they don't take money. Adopt a vet, adopt an elderly, adopt a clean drug addict. They're beautiful people. There are children, and our children were failed. Plain and simple. The last 2 generations, with all the crap going on, parents having to hold 2 jobs, nobody to watch the kids. Well, then the government gives you money for child care, and then our children are getting hurt by people who are licensed. The shelter system, the biggest problem, I'll tell you right now, is there are beautiful people in each and every shelter in this town that I consider a personal friend. But there are also people in there who took a 6-month online course who are practicing tyranny for their own pleasure. I have it on film. I have it on tape. I've been investigating the shelters in this city for 4 months. And the shit's about to hit the fan. So if anybody is interested in joining Grandfathers of Hamilton or just helping out in any way, I'm here. I'm over at Philpott Church. I'm homeless. Find me. But I'd be happy to speak to anybody. Thank you very much. And God bless.
Would anyone else like to speak who's unhoused? Folks have a lot to say, and folks so deeply need to be heard. But people are afraid. Once you're public, there's reasons to fear. And so we honor that and we respect that. I want to wrap up by saying that this moment in time, as many moments in history before us, they require a lot of us. They require us to come together. They require courage. They require risk-taking. They require vulnerability. It's not just what can I do for others. You know, we need to offer unconventional forms of support, like what we're doing here now with this protest, but we also need to ask for unconventional forms of support. The way we stay in the fight, the way we keep the resistance going long-term as it needs to be, is we can't just give and give and give. We also need to ask and receive. And so I invite all of you to reflect on not just what you can do for someone who's unhoused, not just what you can do for others in your community. Community building isn't a one-way thing. It's also, what do you need? Think about what you need. That is a question many people struggle to answer. So think about what you need. What needs of yours are being met, what needs are not. People often say that, and this is a conversation that I had with others, I forget now who, you know, unhoused folks, they have so many needs, you know. It's because their needs are not baked into policy. Other people's needs are baked into the policy. You don't recognize you're getting helped. There's one that comes to mind, that first-time homeowners, something tax break or whatever, that's help. That's a need that's being met. It's baked into policy. You don't have to beg for it. Think about what you need. Get angry at your needs not being met. Channel that anger. Channel the love that you have for community. Take action with it. It doesn't have to be here. It could be at Queen's Park or the Bill 5 resistance camp, which if I wasn't here, I would be there right now. If I could be in 2 places at once, I would be. Take action. It doesn't have to be massive like what we're doing here. It doesn't have to change the world. It can change someone's world. Small is all. Small things ripple out. It is easy to feel powerless in the face of giant systems. But every empire in the history of humanity has fallen. One bit at a time. One pillar at a time. One person at a time. And every little thing that we do, it adds up. It builds. There's a million little things in each of your lives that brought you to this point where you are here today, listening to some random person speak on a mic. Think about all the little things that happened in your life, or all the big things that happened in your life that brought you here today. And think about, how can I contribute to someone else? How can I be one of the little things in someone else's life that brings them here next week, next month, next year? How can I build? Hope is a discipline. That is what Mariam Kaba says. She's an abolitionist from the United States who I've learned a lot from reading from. Hope is a discipline. It's not just a feeling that comes and goes. It's a practice. We cultivate it. Hope is in the doing of things. Every day that we are here trying to do something, whether it's just talking, whether it's feeding people, whether it's anxiously waiting for Baila to come, we are doing things, and that gives me hope. Even on the days where I feel deeply depleted and I can feel panic, anxiety, hopelessness, fear. I often feel fear, but it is being in community. It is expressing that concern to others around me. It is coming together and recognizing our strength, our creativity, our ability to solve problems together. That is what gives me hope. Every single person here gives me hope. Let them give you hope too. Now is too important a time for us to lose hope. The more outrageous Doug Ford gets, and others like him, the more outrageous they are, the more we need to fight for our hope, fight for our community, fight for the things that we love, and remember what we love. Remember that we are here grounded not just in anger and hate, we are grounded in love, and that is a strength that they don't know about. There's a lot more that I could say. What I've learned in the last few weeks here and the weeks leading up to it that brought us here, it's hard to express deeply what I have learned, how I've been humbled, how I've connected, how I've been challenged, how I've rethought the things that I thought I knew and reaffirmed things that I did know. And it is a deep blessing that I hope all of you can join me in. I hope you'll all spend some time, not just when we're having a big rally and we have the news come out, but spend a couple hours throughout your day, throughout the weekend. Chat with folks, have a seat, have a smoke, shoot the shit. That is how community is built. That is how connection is built. It's not just coming out for the big, loud moments. It's coming out for the quiet ones, and sharing space. And the love that you build while sharing space fuels the fight that we all are in right now. Yeah, I'm just riffing. I think we're done. Ethan, you have more to say? He's got some more to say. Give it up for Nancy.
All right, so I'd like to thank once again everybody who had took time off of work, took time doing whatever they were doing to come down here and to support an actual change. And I'm hoping it will be a change, because I'm sorry, I ain't leaving. I do actually, after my speech, I actually thought about it. I liked your speech, and I want to share one of my poems I made when I was basically starting my homework. So here it goes. It has no title, so how many dear friends does the system seem to fail? Oh, ambulance guys. How many dear friends does the system seems to fail? Remember, the old days were plenty. Fewer now than ever, a lot has gone wrong. Has not the highest counselors bickered long enough? Has not the lowest councils shed a tear, for they do not stand with us. So what degree does one slope to? More and more need shelter, cover, or even tents to live in. But we're left for doom. What was covered? What shelter or cover was built? A growing list grows and grows, more and more. Timely service, first come, first gone. Limited time, a time that one must come back. But if one slacks, the spot is given. A few bit little options are even given. You, me, so many. So when 3 meals are prepped and served, when everybody signs in and out, and when the numbers are matched in limited rooms, see how many are just sent away. Promise a day at which heads can lay, a day that doesn't come, a day that is stray. Oh, the wrecking mess, a difficult hide. Smiles on faces, but crying from the inside. The frowns are given, but what happiness can one find? Among the trees where the people are pushed, once tiled, the lowest of the lowest are quickly banned from the system's score. How can one work without proper cover? Replacement after replacement, a cat and mouse game. Why us? Mr. and Mr. Black are at it again. What loyalty or trust? Little to few, perhaps none at all. When our cover is blown, swiftly they come like wild dogs. Where do we go if our shelter is thrown? Quickly tossed away like garbage, discarded with little warn. Oh woe, our precious things, paper of birth, pictures of lost memories gone. What losses oneself? The biggest loss. All highest counsel, the one who governs over us. Do the heart feel pity, or is there none? Left to rot, some to addiction, until death's door. Decayed like others, silver and cold. Do you not fear what will come? Do you not hear our screams? Whose fault is it if the bad cards are in our hands? Have you not seen the world titled first, second, and third? But to us, the homeless, is all a third. One's without a stable place to call, forced to hide from prying eyes, like a chameleon blending in where we can. Torn rags and baggage, we try our best to fit in. Oh, soon, very soon we'll be far away from helping hands, thick trees, a swamp or a bog, rocky or slope or non-even soil. Push past the limit speed. A few will be starving, perhaps, probably more. Oh councils, the time will come where every hand will be done. And where then will the fingers point? Among the ignorant fools or the jesters that hates, has not one seat covered before? The weight of water and food are unbearable. Over vast land we travel. The worry of hateful eyes and damaging hands. What guard is there for us but a companion of a dog? No friends to call. Where do it all end? In death or a spiraling death? All jesters, laymen and women, the fools of the highest chair, the jesters of the lowest, all people who own or set a debt, shame none but oneself. Who or we who stand under rains and winds, thin fabrics, easy to rip or tear. By the beasts of the woods or the hands of the suppressors, the ones who hate each one of us, whom seek the structures of shelters, care not for the life of ours. So wait, dear all enemies, soon your turn will come, when the richest of the richest empty out what is left, and the middle class isn't fed, and the poor are already dead. So wait, and wait, and wait some more. Live comfortably, because it will all be a song. Oh woe to the ones who never seek shelter, sitting on high dirt mounds, silver and gold, spoon from birth. When the face with hardship just crumble. So woe to those, the hands that can make a difference, iron by, mocking us, but soon will mock themselves. So come taste what we go through. Last not a day or a week too soon. For one struggle is worse than some. So leave. Let go of what you dorm. Face the nature without any warmth. A bed which none can lay. A bath when none which one can't take. Food limited and cold. Call each other because there isn't one.
Good one,
Izzy
bro.
is our camp co-ed. Give it up again. A few more. Another round for Izzy. We have another friend from Acorn who's been hanging out at our camp a lot and helping out. Would like to share a few words.
Hi, my name may or may not be a name, I don't know. So yeah, I'm part of Hamilton Acorn, which is not really related, but it is. I'm not here on behalf of them. I've been volunteering with this protest for about a week. I popped by a bit ago because I think there was a postal worker strike, or well, they're not striking yet, but a rally that happened in City Hall that I attended. And I was aware of that this protest was going on here. And I'm thinking of all the intersections of things that I've been kind of doing last year, I guess. See, obviously I'm not houseless, but I definitely grew up in that on the poverty line. And I still technically am. I moved back in with my parents. Which, I mean, that's kind of on that lovely banner over here that we made a bit ago. Just how close people are to ending up homeless, yet there's such a degree of dehumanization that that occurs, or that we direct towards homeless people or houseless folks, whether it be like, you know, you grow up and you see someone and you're like, oh, that person's just a druggie, they don't want help, or you shouldn't help them, or to the point where you just have pity on the folks, but you don't really see them as people in your own community. And I always thought that was weird, because there's still people that are in your community. They're still Hamiltonians like everyone else who lives here. They just have different situations and predicaments that you get in. Just the time I've been here, it's really been kind of eye-opening to kind of be able to chat with these community members. And actually, I don't know, but I just feel like I've experienced more community and more connection to the community of the city of Hamilton in this 1 week, just chilling at City Hall with the folks at the protest, and also with the folks who've been hosting rallies, a couple of unions on strike here, and realizing what the true of the community here than the entire 20 some odd years that I've been living in I grew up here. You get the point. Yeah, and also I started volunteering with Acorn a year ago, and we have similar goals, but from a different perspective in the terms of housing for all. And but I've noticed, just because the people I work with are the folks that are housed, but are pretty close to becoming unhoused, and often are in these predicaments with landlords and folks who really just corporatize housing and make it inaccessible. And it's just interesting kind of seeing how close you can get. Look, I'm just winging it. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap up. But yeah, I'm just proud to be a part of this, and I'm proud that you guys have come out and are able to hear and actually take in the voices of people in the community who truly deserve their voices to be heard. Thanks.
I want to end with sharing one more thing. It's from someone who's not currently able to be here. He told me that a couple of days ago we had someone who was not well, and we supported them with getting support with EMS. And this man who had helped call EMS and who had helped, he's been out here, he's administered Narcan, he's done a lot for supporting the community out here. He's unhoused himself, and he said, I never imagined that I would end up unhoused, but it feels like it was meant to happen so that I could be here. So I could be here at this protest, at this encampment, to support others who are in the same situation. And I've reflected, as I mentioned earlier, on the things in my life that happened, positive and deeply negative, that made me the person that's standing here right now. No, you don't need to cheer for me. That wasn't the intention. And there's a deep humility and a deep sense of purpose when you know you're acting in a way that is aligned with your values, when you know that you're not simply surviving, you're living and you're fighting and you're building the world that you want to live in. There's a podcast that I listen to, and they talk about, when they were 8 years old. When they were 8 years old, they were sick and they needed medicine. And the person behind the counter denied them that medicine because they didn't have the money. And at 8 years old, they realized that this capitalist world will let you die if you can't afford to live. And whenever they're acting in a way that's not aligned with their values, that inner 8-year-old screams at them. And I have an inner 8-year-old too. She grew up in Kuwait during the Iraq War and had to evacuate, and had a lot of Western soldiers hanging around. And 8 years old is the first time that I thought I was gonna die. And anytime I find myself being a little too corporate, sending too many emails, being a little too colonial, my inner 8-year-old screams at me too. She demands integrity of me, even when I don't want it. And I worked in mental health, that was my background, and so much of mental health in a colonial context is about regulating yourself. Regulate your inner child, regulate your emotions, regulate. In the face of a world that is deeply just horrific and violent, regulate so that you can be a productive member of society. And I finally allowed myself to reject that. I reject having to regulate my inner child, my 8-year-old who knows that this is deeply wrong, deeply unjust. I refuse to make my anger and injustice more palatable for people who do not want to build a more just world, for people who are causing the injustice. And so I want to leave you all with the words that, like, the parts of you that know this is deeply wrong, that long to scream in the streets and shake people to say, wake up, this is wrong, people are dying. That part of you is beautiful and needs protecting, and that part of you deserves to be in the driver's seat more often than you let it, probably. And so I invite you all to become unhinged, scream in the streets, this is wrong, this is unjust. How can we just go about our days when the immensity of the harm and the violence is deeply broken? There's a great book I recommend you check out, How to Go Mad Without Losing Your Mind, and that's what I've been thinking about as I'm here. This is madness in many ways, but it is the most sane thing I've ever done in my life, probably. Okay, that's all we have, folks. Thank you all for being here. There's some more food over there. Please feel free to just hang out for a little while, engage, chat with folks. Chat more. There's other folks involved. If you want to ask more questions about the encampment, about the protests, and about housing in Hamilton. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to wrap it up for here in Hamilton. I will leave you with that and see you on the next one.